So with Pokemon Day fast approaching, I was reminded that last year I tried drawing all of the Generation 1 Pokemon from memory, and I had a lot of fun with it. It's still one of my favorite videos from last year. So, since it is Pokemon season, I decided to try again with the 100 Pokemon from Generation 2. Let's see how I did. Right off the bat, Gen 2 is probably my favorite set of Pokemon design-wise, and Johto is one of my favorite regions since it's a part of Generation 4, the generation I started playing with. So I felt a lot of pressure to do these guys justice. In the end, I'd say this was definitely harder than the first set, which was surprising to me for a few reasons. One, there's less Pokemon, so I thought it would be easier. Two, I've never actually drawn a lot of these Pokemon before. Unlike the first generation, I'd drawn all of them at least once or twice. But hey, I've never drawn Politoed, for example, before, so it was a bit difficult. 3. One of the reasons that the Gen 2 Pokemon are my favorites is because of how simple the designs are. That's what makes them deceptively difficult. It can be so hard to remember where one element of the design goes, and because they're so simple, one element can mean a lot when drawing it from memory and make the Pokemon look completely off. So to me, a lot of them look a little uncanny or weird. I did this over the course of a few days after work, so it was a real nice cool down to end my days, but I was trying to rush it a bit, so I wasn't able to do as much polish as I did with the Gen 1 set. At first, I was struggling really hard, and I was in shock at how bad I was doing, but then as I'd shower or go to bed, I'd randomly remember a feature of a Pokemon that I forgot, so I actually went back and made a few revisions as I worked throughout the whole process. So this piece was definitely an ever-changing and evolving one, which is quite different from how I usually work. So, why don't we take a look at all the Pokemon I drew and compare them to their official artwork, and just see what I was missing. Just for context, these were drawn really small, so when they're expanded here, they look a little bit dodgy, but I feel it adds to the wackiness and the kind of weird look that they all have, so let's take a look. Okay, so let's take a look at these Gen 2 Pokemon, huh? Starting with the Chikorita line, I pretty much got them. The only thing I'm kind of missing is the flower for Meganium. I just drew the typical Gen 1 Vileplume Venusaur flower, rather than this like hibiscus flower that Meganium has. Cyndaquil line, I also pretty much got. I know the Gen 2 starters like the most out of all the Gen 2 Pokemon, because I've drawn them the most. Totodile, my personal favorite of the trio. I pretty much got all these guys as well. The one I struggled with most was Croconaw, but in the end I was actually pretty happy with the pose I got for him, and I feel like it captured the proportions and the vibe of it pretty well. Centret line, Centret is pretty much spot on. I gave it whiskers just for fun. I know he doesn't have whiskers, but I also gave them both noses, which they don't have. Farret, I went back and forth adjusting the patterning, but it never really felt right. In the end, I got the right idea with the whiskers and the patterning, but not the best execution. It doesn't really look like Farret still to me. Hoothoot and Noctowl, pretty much spot on here. I didn't do the front of Noctowl because I thought it was a more interesting pose for the back, but yeah, they're pretty good. Spinarak and Ledyba, the bugs. Ledyba and Ledian, I gave white spots instead of black spots. And I'm honestly really surprised that I got Ledian as close as I did, because I really struggled with it initially. Spinarak is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. I wish I could have drawn them a bit better here. I feel it's not the best Spinarak I've drawn, and the colours are a little off. Looking in hindsight, all of these colours are probably a bit too saturated or fluorescent. Ariados, I forgot its front mandibles, and the patterning is also a bit off. Crobat, I kind of just drew a generic bat. Like, I missed the ear shape, the fingers on the wings, and its mouth and eyes, but yeah, Crobat I did kind of struggle with to make it look like its own unique Pokemon. Chinchou and Lantern. Chinchou's pretty good. Lantern was another one I struggled. I just couldn't really get it to look like Lantern, but I couldn't picture it in my head well enough. It is a weird shape, but fish Pokemon in general can be really tough for me. The babies, Pichu, Cleffa, and Igglybuff. Pichu's pretty good. Cleffa, I kind of just drew a small Clefairy. And Igglybuff, I just got the spiral in the wrong spot. And proportionally it's a little bit different. Togepi and Togetic, they're pretty much spot on, perfect. The only thing is Togetic's wings are a bit different, but aside from that, I nailed these guys. Some of my favorite Gen 2 Pokemon. Natu and Xatu. Natu I got really well, the only thing different are the feet. That's because I know Natu well because I spent a month traveling throughout Japan looking for a Natu plushie my roommate, and I didn't get it till like the last day. So yeah, Natu. Xatu though, the patterning, I had no chance really. And the wings are the wrong color as well. Mareepline, these guys are all pretty spot on. The only noticeable thing for me is the pattern, the stripes. I gave too many on Ampharos, and the ball for Mareep should be orange instead of blue, and Fluffy's ears should be pink instead of white. Blossom, pretty much spot on, should just have some yellow leaves instead of light green ones. And Politoed, I think Politoed's one of the worst ones I did. I think Politoed's also my least favorite Gen 2 Pokemon, and I struggled a lot with Politoed. It just looks weird, but I kind of got a lot of the elements. It's just so fluorescent neon colored here for some reason. Marill and Azumarill. Marill's pretty good. I went back and forth on whether I should give them red cheeks like Pikachu has, but in the end I made the right call. And Azumarill I gave black ears instead of blue. For some reason it looks really off. Some of these just look weird because they were so small and I struggled to simplify them or do them in my art style. I'd like to go back and draw them with reference eventually, or draw like Pokemon teams for a video. I think that would be fun. Or just try and match the Pokemon style a bit better. I'm going out of Pokedex order a bit. We're doing some of these single stage Pokemon. Sudowoodo is one of my favorites from this challenge. I feel like I captured him perfectly. And if you look at the full illustration, he's kind of surrounded by water types, which is why he's so nervous. I like the pose and everything, the expression, the colors. And I got pretty much every element on him. Aipom, pretty close. It's just like the belly is reverse. And I gave him balls on his feet, which he doesn't have. But Aipom I've drawn before. And Yanma was a difficult one because it's like, I can picture it, but I can't nail the specifics down. So you can see where I tried to get like the mouth, but didn't quite nail it, the antenna and the body. It's way more simple than how I did it, I feel, and it's cleaner than how I did it on the official. Hoppip line, I pretty much nailed these guys, except for missing their tails. I forgot they had tails, but Hoppip's good. I didn't do its ears quite right. Oh, I forgot Skiploom's ears as well, just noticing that now. But these guys are so cute, look at them. I feel like I like them a lot more now after doing this challenge, because just look at them, they're so cute, they're these flying little grass cats. Sunkern line, pretty much got them exactly. I'm just missing one brown stripe on Sunkern, and Sunflora's petals are smaller and more detailed. But they're cute. Whipperline, again, these guys are like spot on pretty much. I've drawn Whipper plenty of times. They're a really simple, easy design to draw. Quagsire. The only thing I'm missing on Quagsire is the darker part on its tail on the top. I just extended the back patterning down there. But these guys are cute. Espeon and Umbreon, they look a little weird. They look very childish because it's so small. I don't know. Umbreon, the patterning is a bit different and they should have red eyes. And the proportions are just weird with these guys. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but I don't like evolutions much in general. Murkrow, one of my favorites from this region. I feel like I got Murkrow pretty good. Slowking, just looks weird. It doesn't look good. I'm not a fan of it. The proportions are just weird and everything, not fun. Misdreavus, pretty much got it. I got like the tips colored and everything. The eyes should be a bit darker, but aside from that, it's pretty good. Unknown, yep, I mean, it's unknown, they're fine. Wobbuffet, I pretty much got. His mouth is slightly different. And Girafarig, I got the head shape a bit weird, like he should have a white spot on there. And his ears are different as well. Pineco and Fortress, these guys are pretty good. I would change the colors in hindsight a bit, but it was kind of tricky to fit them all in and stuff like that. Dunsparce, I kind of had the right idea, but the patterning is different and wrong, and he's a bit too dark. Gligar, pretty good. He shouldn't have those spots on his ears, and he should have extra little spikes on his wings. And his feet are all different, and he has claws, like crab claws instead of hands. Quillfish, pretty good. Colors are just a bit off. Steelix, he looks weird here with his red eye, because I knew he had red somewhere in his eyes, but I just made his whole eye red. Aside from that, he's pretty good. Sizzle also is working alright. The only things I'm really missing is some of the leg shape and like the black bit on the torso. plus the shoulder pads, but Scizor is actually one of my favorite designs from Gen 2. I had like a toy of it as a kid, and I really liked it. Snubbull and Granbull, I feel like I got these guys pretty good. Snubbull should have more of like a dress, and the ears are a bit different, and I forgot it's like lower jaw, like the jowl kind of look. Also gave him claws, like more Gen 1 style. Granbull, pretty good. I'm just missing the tail, really. And aside from that, it's also pretty good. Gave it claws again. Shuckle, Heracross, and Sneasel. These guys are all pretty good. Shuckle's like spot on. Heracross, the patterning is just slightly off. And Sneasel, I gave it a red spot instead of a yellow one, and I forgot its head piece as well. Teddiursa and Ursaring, I forgot Teddiursa's yellow mouth part. And the ears are a bit different. In Ursaring, I also forgot the yellow mouth part and did the moon symbol wrong. Slugma and Magcargo, I forgot their jowls, and I gave Magcargo like these eyebrows. But I kind of like how they look. I like how Magcargo looks a lot in my style, at least. Swinub and Piloswine, the colors are a bit off on Swinub, and Piloswine is so close to being perfect, but it just needs that extra little bump. But I really like how I drew Piloswine. It's one of my favorites from the challenge. I like the colors a lot and everything, the shape. Remoraid, Corsola, and Octillery. Remoraid's just a fish. I just drew a fish, but I'm missing the specific elements. Corsola's good, I'm just missing its forehead spike. And Octillery, its mouth shouldn't be detached, and it should also be red. Delibird, he should have black around his eyes. Mantine, different body patterning and eyes. Skarmory, I struggled with Skarmory. It looks weird, I'm not a fan of it. Houndour and Houndoom, I forgot the Houndour's mouth, like red part, and Houndoom is pretty close. I'm just forgetting the like leg band parts. Kingdra, Porygon2, and Blissey, the evolutions here. Blissey looks so weird and cursed. I think I was like losing steam at this point. And it was just like they were getting so big and bunched up, I was like, I'll just get it out there. Porygon 2, the colors are a bit backwards, like with my original Porygon, and Kingdra's fairly close, it's just missing details. Phanpy and Donphan. Now, Phanpy is currently my favorite Pokemon of all time, so I feel like I did Phanpy pretty good justice here. I love drawing Phanpy, Phanpy's so cute. Donphan, though, I do like how I drew it, but I forgot the tusks. Like, one of the key defining elements, I forgot for some reason. I can't believe I did that. Stantler's pretty good. The antlers need a bit more detail, but I've drawn Stantler a lot because it was on my Legends Arceus team. Smeargle, mine is a lot more emo looking and darker in colors, but I got a lot of the same kind of elements, missing a few details. Tyrogue, I forgot that it wears shoes and it has like pants. So my Tyrogue is just weirdly naked. And Hitmontop, I got the hands wrong and the patterning wrong as well. The rest of the babies, Smoochum, I kind of just gave up on Smoochum, so it's missing quite a bit. Elekid's pretty close. Patterning is really the only major thing here. And Magby as well is just proportionally, and a few weird small things. Miltank, pretty close. The horns shouldn't be black, and the tail shouldn't be blue. But aside from that, it's pretty close. Then the legendary dogs. These are by far the worst. Towards the end is where it really fell apart. Because these guys are detailed designs, I've never drawn them. Raikou is the worst, Entei looks the stupidest, Suicune is like whatever. But, man, these guys are bad. I think when I was drawing them, I was like, okay, I know these guys are bad. I kind of just gave up. Look at Entei's face, dude. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to draw these guys proper and like, because they're cool designs, I like them, but man, that's bad. The Larvitar line, Larvitar's fine. And then Pupitar, I don't know. And then Tyranitar, I kind of just drew Godzilla. Like, the colors are wrong, it's missing elements, it doesn't even really look like Tyranitar, it's just Godzilla. I got the tail, but aside from that, it's Godzilla. And then last but not least, the legendaries. Lugia's fine. Ho-Oh, it was too detailed, I just gave up and threw some colors on there. I knew I wasn't going to get it, so Ho-Oh's ugly, terrible, one of the worst. Celebi's fine, but I'm missing the black rings around its eyes, and proportionally it's a little weird. Man, Gen 2 kicked my butt towards the end there. It started off pretty strong, but went downhill. So what do you think? Good, bad, funny, unfunny? Is my memory good? Is my memory terrible? Let me know in the comments. Also, what is your favorite Gen 2 Pokemon? For me, you saw it in the video, but I'm interested in all of your guys' opinions. So yeah, I hope you have a good Pokemon day, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you shortly on the next one. Alright, bye-bye.